Hi all, and welcome back to the 1 minute farming videos. And before I go any further, I would like to thank you all who commented for all those kind words regarding the final videos and the startup of the Model B. Much appreciated it, I really did. And I was so pleased to hear that the videos that we'd posted over the last few years have also helped people out with their own restoration. As I said when we first kicked off with those videos, that was the whole point of that series, to help people with my little bit of knowledge, and to keep these old tractors going. So one or two people have asked me what's the next project. Well, I have a project in mind. Could be extremely controversial, but yeah, so we'll discuss that. I mean, the workshop's a little bit bare now. We've got the old case decks there, the gearbox and rear axle in. I brought that in because it is starting to take a little bit of harm out in the workshop, main workshop. And we're getting quite a bit of surface rust on it again, and so my plan is, before I do a lot more, I want to give that another coat of paint. The engine has finally made a start of being rebuilt. The bearings are being rebabbited. I eventually got a kit for the actual liners and pistons, which are extremely rare at the moment, pistons in particular. So the engine's getting done, and hopefully that will be sorted in the next month or so, and we can get back to getting this put back together and get that one out of the way. It's turning out to be a bit like the Model B, a bit of a long drawn out affair. So our next project is stood out here, and hey, it's another John Deere. Surprise, surprise. Now you're going to have to forgive the noise, it's a bit windy again outside, so we might hear the doors rattling. So yeah, so here we have a standard Model A with the narrow front two-wheel configuration. I've had this tractor for probably, well, I was arguing with my son, but he reckons I've had it for 7 years. He probably isn't far off, to be fair. It certainly will be 6. I bought it off eBay, which is probably a bit foolish, because I never saw the tractor, I just bid on it and bought it. The second bad thing was it came from Devon in the UK. Now, don't get me wrong, Devon's a nice place, but the tractor itself resided in a small seaside village, and unfortunately the salty air has not done the panel work much favours, especially the front cowls. They're all a little bit sort of pitted and gnarly. I do have some new ones to replace them, but the dilemma is, as I say, it's just a standard Model A. I don't have one in the collection other than this one. It's just as it is. A little bit of a plain Jane, as I say. In America, that tractor would just have been a parts tractor. And to be fair, I have sold 1 or 2 bits off it. People have rung me over the last few years asking if I had anything for a Model A. And I've tried to help them out on the small bits. I have no front wheels at the moment. There's some bits missing. What is missing? A couple of bits off the governor, I believe. No, sorry, I apologise, not the governor. There's some bits missing off the oil system underneath. I sold the steering wheel and 1 or 2 other bits and bobs. And so I thought, well, the tin work isn't improving. Oh, excuse me. So it does need some work. I mean, I have the AW in the other shed, which I'd dearly love to do up. but I think this one's waited long enough. And so I thought, right, get her in, start assessing it and see where we go. Now, to be fair, the Model A of this period, now this is, I would say this is a 1943 model. I'm a bit sketchy on the serial number, but I think by the seat it's a 7-hole seat, so if it's an original 7-hole seat then it's right around about the 1942-43 mark, I think they are, 7-hole seats. And to be fair, it's just an overgrown Model B. And I want to do something different, and I don't really want to just go over straight away another set of videos such as we did on the Model B. I do intend to strip the tractor totally down to its bare bones, because I feel that is the only way to properly do them up, restore them. So this tractor will be stripped down to its bare bones as the Model B was. And I will do videos of it, I'll do plenty of videos. But the controversial bit, and this is, I know this is going to probably get me thrown out of the two-cylinder club, is I want to do something slightly different, and I'll come out straight away with it. I want to put that flathead V8 Ford engine into it. There you go, I've said it. Now I know I've said I'm a great one for originality, and I am, but I just fancy a different challenge. I do like my engineering, and my small part engineering anyway, and this is going to take some engineering to do. I've measured it up, it's all feasible to do. You see those flathead V8s put into other tractors, particularly little Fords and little Masseys, and so I thought, why not? Why not? Let's see if one can be put into a Model A John Deere. Horsepower and output, obviously the horsepower is a bit more on a V8, but the torque is actually slightly less, believe it or not. These are a massively torquey engine, obviously for agriculture, they have to be. But the idea is that to get the ratios right for everything, I will have to make sure that I have the correct gears inside, well basically they will be inside the crankcase. Now I've been researching plenty of differential gears which I think will be ideal, and I've found a set of gears which will put the V8 at its maximum for torque of about 3,500 RPM, and it will put out the power back through the clutch side of it and the pulley side, and it will be the similar sort of RPMs that the John Deere engine would put out. Obviously with the V8, the V8 runs north-south and the John Deere engine runs east-west, hence why we need to have some sort of differential gear, or bevel gear for want of a better word, in the crankcase, to bring the power back round the corner, as I call it, down and round the corner. The plan is to machine a straight shaft where the crankshaft would be, and the crankshaft, and that shaft will run in large taper bearings. There will have to be some form of lubrication designed and developed inside to lubricate those bearings, although I suspect it will all be on splash sort of lubrication. I want to retain the pulley and clutch system, but obviously the flywheel side, I don't want to retain the flywheel side because I don't want that mass spinning alongside with the rest of the V8 flywheel. I've got to use the V8 flywheel and start the motor to obviously start the tractor. The plan is to keep that flywheel on, but it will be mounted stationary just to keep the aesthetic look of the tractor. I mean, one of the big things about this project is to, I want the tractor so that anyone in the future could take the V8 out and put that engine back in. So I do not want to destroy any part of the tractor that is going to compromise the reinstalling of that engine. That's one of the challenges. And so my plan is to keep it looking right, such as I'm going to renew the air stack and obviously an exhaust, neither of which will possibly be used. The air stack might be used in conjunction with the V8 carburetor. The exhaust won't be, because I want to sling the two exhaust pipes out underneath through the back axle. Because I cannot stand these V8 conversions with the stacks going up the side of the bonnet. I think they look awful. And B, by putting the exhaust out underneath the back axle, sitting at the back as you do on these tractors, it's going to have a wonderful sound to it, that V8 sound. And so yeah, it is going to be a massive project. And yeah, I'm sure it's going to be very controversial. There's a lot of you, I suspect, out there are going to be quite upset about it, possibly. I would hope not. I would hope that you've seen that Model B, the job I've done on that, and the plan is to make equally as good a job on this V8 installation. As I say, this type of tractor, they're like 10 a penny out in the States, I'm sure you'll agree. And even in this country, when you go around the shows, you always see 2 or 3 of these particular just standard Model A's. They are very common. And so I'm sure it won't matter if the odd one or two gets a bit of a special attention. I mean, the tractor itself is not, this one I've got here is not a popular tractor, and for that reason being is it has those cast centre rear wheels. And a lot of the lads that show tractors do not like cast wheels at all. They just, when they're trying to, when they're moving them on a trailer behind a vehicle, obviously you're adding weight, and the tractor is, extremely heavy. I think those 2 cast wheels will weigh in excess of, a third of a ton. That's a third of a ton of cast iron alone in the wheels. So it's not a popular tractor. If it had steel wheels on, it would probably be a lot more popular. So yeah, there we go. The engine itself, the original engine, the engine that's in it now, does have decent compression. Now I've never had it running. When I got it, it wasn't a runner. I could never get a spark out of it, so I'm guessing the magneto's a bit tired. I know the carburetor's full of gunk because I've had the bowl off it. If you're looking at the engine rocker cover there, obviously it needs a darn good clean up. Crankcase needs a good clean up. There was a lot of water came out the crankcase, which is rather strange considering it's been stored inside most of the time I've had it. And the gearbox is well over full, so I'm guessing there's water in that. Goes back to the old situation of condensation inside the engine and gearbox casings. There's 1 or 2 massively worn things. The clutches levers are all worn badly. Gear stick levers worn badly. The steering is worn quite badly as well. There's quite a lot of play in that before anything happens. It does have, amazingly, it does have a new radiator core in it, which is quite amazing. But that will have to be all stripped back down because obviously with it being stud, the castings inside have actually rusted a bit. So I will strip that down and reseal it all. So yeah, so that's the next project. The saving of it is, for those who are not happy with what I'm thinking, is that once we start getting the bonnet and that stripped off it, the hood stripped off it, and the engine out, I mean the first thing to do is to actually make sure that the whole thing will work. So I need to make sure things will sit right and work. I do not want a half-assed attempt at this. If this V8 does not want to fit in there, then I won't continue with it. It will keep with its original 2-cylinder engine. It's got to work right for me. If it doesn't work right, or it just isn't gelling, then I shan't continue with it. So that's its saving. But I have been thinking about it a lot, and as I say, I know it's going to be controversial, and hey, comment. Put plenty of comments out there, and let's see where we go with it. Yeah, please do. So, okay then. Well, I've said it now, and I've done it now. So, okay then. Thank you very much. Bye.